In this video, we're going to discuss about firewall port opening. So Grace, when do we usually do firewall port opening?
Ren's firewall port opening, also known as access list, we are doing firewall port opening when there's a new project or new applications or servers that they must access. Especially when you are accessing the internet, you must open the port for the web servers, DNS or DHCP. And Renz, what can you say for further for the firewall port opening?
Yeah. So we're discussing port opening. So we're basically talking about access list, and we're trying to reconfigure the access list of the firewall. So we place permit and deny rules, and we typically have control up to the layer 4, where we deal with TCP/IP, UDP, and various IP addresses. We're controlling the packets via their IP address. And also, we need to be aware about, although we're not going to discuss this in detail, we need to be aware of next generation of firewalls, wherein basically we can place control up to OSI layer 7, where we have what we call app IDs or objects, where we control the packets based on their applications. For example, if you're using Facebook, you can permit the general Facebook packets, but you can deny or block a Facebook chat. But that is again for another lesson. So, Grace, what are the common sample ports that we typically deal with when it comes to firewall port opening? So, Grace, what are the common sample ports when it comes to port opening?
Renz, as I've said a while ago, you need to access the internet. And internet uses port 80 and 443 in order to establish a successful connectivity. And also, if you want to acquire IP address dynamically and set up a DNS servers, you must always open the port 53, 67, and 68, which is standard for setting up a network architecture. And to manage the device, it is applicable for the network administrator to open the port 22 for SSH. And if you want to check if you can reach the device, you can always open ICMP port 0 and 8.
So, Grace, what are the common appliances when it comes to firewalls and firewall port opening?
Renz, according to the Google trend, the most trend firewall today is Palo Alto and Fortinet. But in enterprise company, they are also using Juniper SRX and Cisco ASA firewall.
Yeah, that's right. And basically, Cisco ASA is in its end of life this year, 2019, and is going to be replaced by new appliances and software next year with Cisco Firepower. So, Grace, what are the best practices when it comes to doing firewall port opening?
Renz, it's always a best practice to back up the configuration of the firewall before doing any changes, especially if there is a big impact on the policy that you're editing, because as we all know, all BPO projects are using firewall policy for the internet and any other web servers applications. And also, it's always practice to commit all the changes if you are using Juniper SRX, and write mem if you are using Cisco firewall. And to check if the policy that you configured in a specific firewall works, you must there is a configuration in which you can check if the policy has hit counts, or you can check the logs if there is a traffic generated from the source IP address to the destination IP address. And always be careful if you are editing the existing policy in a firewall, especially the internet. It's best practice just to make sure that there is no impact on the existing is to create a new policy.
Yes, if possible, we should create a new policy and prioritize that policy and to test it out just to make sure that you're not affecting the original policy, if possible.
Yeah, and also minimize the configuration of any rules, because it's not compliant to permit all the IP addresses outside.
Yes.
So you must minimize any source, any destination, any. Just permit the specific IP.
Yes, okay. So as much as possible, be specific when it comes to firewall port opening. In some cases, it's before editing the firewall access list, placing your, what I mean to say is before placing your new configuration, it may be necessary for you to remove any deny any rule stated at the end of your access list. You place your new configuration and then return the deny any rule at the end.
Firewalls, especially Cisco ASA, always read the policies from top or to bottom and also according to the priority that you set on the policy.
If you want more content like this, don't forget to press that like button, and if you want to get more updates, subscribe to our YouTube channel, My Network Dojo.